Most people who are watching this would know that Silicon Valley is considered for the last 70 years to be sort of the epicenter of fantastic and sort of tremendous investing using venture capital. Organizations like Netflix, organizations like Amazon, organizations like Google and Facebook have all been venture-backed companies. Impact X is bringing that tradition here to Europe. And the reason we're doing this is because there's an opportunity that we think exists, that if you look around, when I started in the United States as a entrepreneur, less than 1% of venture capital went to Black-run businesses and Black-founded businesses. That's the same thing that we're finding here in the UK, less than 1%, and then the same thing throughout Europe. And the opportunity to then invest in businesses to try and find and then to build out the next Netflix, to build out the next Apple, that's what we're trying to do. And so the way that we do that is we take money from private investors and do studies and research about who's out there doing fascinating things, what young, mid-age, or older entrepreneurs, and then we try to put money behind them in order to help their dreams to be made into a reality.
How will you advise the government to help Black-run businesses and other underrepresented groups? What would be your top 3 things?
So I'm going to give you one, and I'm going to repeat it 3 times. We need to have Black people at the table having a conversation about what are the solutions that are going to be necessary and are going to actually make sense. I'll repeat that. We need to have Black people at the table. And I'm going to say as my number 3, Sarah, we need to have Black people at the table. If you do not have the representation, if you don't have the voices and those sort of experiences that are going to help to frame the conversation and then also create and generate the solution set, you're going to get solutions that are not fit for purpose. And I think this is continuing to happen time and time again. When we have this conversation with the government as to what should be done, as when I become czar, as you said, what we should be talking about is we should say BAME is one category, and let's have a conversation there of a mixed group, but then we need to have specific conversations with the various individual sort of groups that then make up that designation, because Black people, as we see when we look at health outcomes, are certainly having a tough time. Black businesses are having a tough time or in critical care, and that needs to be thought about specifically. What are the solutions for those businesses? Because quite frankly, without those businesses, there are a number of other things which happen. If unemployment goes up, if family security goes down, all of those things have knock-on effects.
From your many decades of experience, if you could give any advice to aspiring entrepreneurs?
I'd say the big advice I have is you have to survive in order to thrive. So you have got to survive this period. To the extent that you need to extend your amount of cash on hand in order to be able to pay your employees, in order to be able to keep the lights on, you need to do that and focus on that first. And then you need to, having done that, you need to analyze what the future, you believe the future is going to look like. That's a hypothesis. So make a hypothesis as to what the future will look like. And then from that hypothesis, then design what your business needs to do in order to be able to thrive in this new world. And those first 2 stages, that's 3 different ones: survive, analyze, then thrive. You want to try and reduce as long as possible, to make it as tight as possible, the survive time. You want to do as much analysis as you can as quickly as possible, and then you want to make sure that you're then moving into this new world of the world where you can thrive as quickly as you can. Those are the 3 different areas, and the one that you want to spend the most time in is to be able to thrive, which is an execution step. And I think many organizations sit hoping that the world will go back to the way that it was, which I don't think it ever does. And they think that if they continue with the same strategies they once had, and they just do more of it and do it a little bit louder and a little bit better, they're going to get different results. And my thought would be analyze, use that analytic time frame, that analysis time frame, in order to then be able to say what is going to be the way that I can actually thrive in the future.